Thanks for listening to GB Podcasting.
Hey yo.
I like it.
Dude, that drop is filthy.
I got so caught up in that, I forgot to count us in.
Oops.
3, 2, 1, we're live.
Hey.
No, I don't think I could have better set up this podcast from the start based on what we're getting ready to talk about than me messing up the 3, 2, 1.
Oh, man, that's funny.
So,
Man, it's been a doozy of a day.
I know. It kills me because honestly, this is the first time today where I feel like I've actually been able to sit down and like woosah.
It is. Like, it's a sigh of, that's why, as we were setting this stuff up, it's like, this is finally the last thing on our list of shit that we needed to get done today. So it's like,
And here we are.
Let's just do what we need to do now. You
Yeah.
can finally, like your shoulders relax a little bit. Like you've been tensed
Yeah.
up all day.
It's nice.
Yeah.
And it's different because I feel like normally when we start, it's scramble brain. What are we getting ready to do? And now it's like, hit that record button so that I can chill out.
Yeah. I can relax a minute. Damn. But that kind of leads us into what we're here to talk about today. And as far as priorities. So, do you want to kick us off?
It's been a hell of a day.
Yeah.
For anybody who hasn't been able to figure that out so far into this, it's been a day for Cody and I. And one of the things on our way to the studio was talking about how we had such a methodical, thought-out plan of how today was going to go, because I was telling you this morning, your time off is very valuable because it's very restricted.
There's no
Yeah.
wiggle room. If I'm on schedule for work, like I don't hardly get to talk to people, let alone get anything done.
Right. So that time we have to do something with, and that was our mission going in today. We had a plan for everything. We had a lot of shit. I don't know what's going on. I guess it's just, kind of like we were talking about that time of year where the days get longer, people start getting more productive, and
I don't know. I think that I noticed myself more and more lately talking to fewer people. People are just like, it's not like I'm trying to. I'm not trying to ignore anybody. I even said this to someone. I was catching up with someone the other day, and I was like, look, like, I ain't forgot about you. I'm not ignoring you. It's just a matter of, dude, we're in full-on grind mode.
yeah.
We got a lot going on as far as, like, what we're grinding on, whether it be physical fitness or eating habits or the podcast or business ideas. Like, we are full on in grind mode.
Absolutely. It caught me off guard. So right before we were sat down to record, we were at the gym trying to get in a quick 30-minute workout. That way we weren't feeling completely...
Like we wasted one of the days to be in the gym.
Right. And I'm in the middle of doing one of our last exercises, and a great old friend of ours, goofy bastard, pokes his head out of the side of my vision, and it caught me off guard. And it was so nice to see him, but the initial thought to me was, shit, I don't have time for this.
Isn't that terrible?
It is. It's awful. And we got to catch up with Sam, and Sam, if you're listening, man, it was awesome to see you.
Yeah.
But with everything going on, like, the gym was barely fittable as is, and then running into somebody and
That, it could easily be a 30-minute conversation. It's like, oh, shit, it's about to get late.
yeah.
But, that's how it goes. And that's kind of how we came to this conversation was, you make all of these plans to get shit done. And 9 times out of 10, days go like they have today where things kind of start to whirlwind at some point in your day. And things you don't foresee come up. And all of a sudden, time's clicking away real fast. And it's like, I mean, hell, we were trying to get to the gym from like 4 to 7:30, 7:45.
Right.
And it was like, there kept being one more thing we needed to do before we got to the gym. Mm-hmm. And, man, time clicked away on us quick. And they were things that needed to be done, so there isn't much to do about it, even though they weren't foreseen, most of them.
Right. And that brought us to an interesting topic as far as priority kind of takes place whether you plan for it to or not. Because although the day did not go exactly how we planned on it going, the things that needed to be done today. Now, I granted there were some things that you would have liked to have gotten done today, and the same thing for me. But with the time that we had, everything that came up, we took care of the things that absolutely needed to be done today. And by the way, super astounded or astounded. No.
Astonished.
I'm super excited for everything that we got done today.
Oh, okay. That was not the word I was looking for.
No, it came out wrong, but super excited with everything we got done today. Yeah. Awesome day. Can't really go into details yet, but for everybody listening, there's more to come behind the scenes that we're staying busy. You know, we don't just talk about it's a whirlwind of chaos. We're so busy. No, we're busy.
We're out here trying to progress and get some stuff done for the future. And you know, that brings it into play though that, you know, we had a very good structure going into today, which kept us very focused as far as planning around the whirlwind of stuff. I mean, when we were out there this morning trying to get out of the house, when you guys were putting like the window crackers on your trucks.
Oh yeah.
What are them things called?
They're like the rain deflectors, the window guards. I guess you call them window guards.
I call them window crackers because everybody leaves their windows cracked when they have them.
I don't think I've ever heard them called that, but great use of words.
Anyway, when you guys were putting those on and we were trying to plan out how the day was going to go, you know, Bobby kept asking us if we were going to go to the gym. And I was like, well, you know, I would love to go to the gym today, but it's a B priority on an A priority day. I said that like 6 times, but I was like, that's not an A priority. It's something I would like to do. But
if we have the time.
It's not a necessity. So here's our A priorities that have to get done today. You know, we need to get the sunshine, sign paperwork. We need to get out, you know, over in Asheville to take care of a few things. But like those things had to get done. And granted, no, it did not go as planned. And stupid things come up.
For the most part, we used the structured plan to get the things done that needed to be done.
It just took us a lot longer than you would expect.
Isn't it funny how it always takes longer than you expect?
With us? It almost always does.
Well, even in general, I feel like very seldomly does anything ever go.
But that's why it's so important to have priorities. So, I mean, like, you know, we talked so much about goals lately and how to appropriately set them, how to fail with style. I mean, like, you know, how to bounce back. And a big part of that is being able to prioritize because life gets in the way 150%. There is not anything in this world you're going to try to do where life is not going to try to humble you in some way and be like, no, that's not important. Like, it tries to get in the way of the things that are most important actively. Yeah. And the bullshit stuff, like we were talking about on the way to the gym, can just sneak up and bite you in the ass. And they almost have a way of taking precedence over the things that are actually important. Even though they're small, minor things, somehow they take up more of your day than the important things do, which is just something that you have to be mindful of to try to change.
Right, and that's just what you call the everyday runaround. There's 1,000 different names for it. You could call it the bullshit, the everyday runaround. But it's there, and it's there for everybody, no matter who you are. And good choice of words, it can take over from stuff that really is important to you or your day or your week or your month, whatever kind of scale you want to put it on. Stuff comes up unplanned, and it oftentimes can take that priority over what you think should have priority. And I told you on the phone, I thought that was a very interesting topic in itself because it is the main factor, I believe, that stops people from getting priority done. Well, I need to do this today because of, you know, whatever. It's so different, you know, it varies.
It's pretty today, and I'm going to be working the rest of the week. I need to cut the grass today.
Right.
But then it's, well, I need fuel for the lawnmower. And then you get to the store. Well, I need to get fuel for the truck, but I'm already this close to the bank. I better run to the bank while I'm out in town.
Right.
It's lunchtime. I better grab food while I'm out so that I can go focus on the grass. Then it's 4:30, 5 o'clock. Spouses are getting off of work, you know, hey, let's do something for dinner. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I do need to think about what I'm going to do for dinner. And then all of a sudden, man, it's 7:30. You're 20 minutes from dark, and you ain't even cranked the lawnmower today.
And that's, get your ass on that lawnmower. No, and that's an interesting topic, too. Just the change in season. You know, you were talking about 20 minutes till dark at 8 o'clock, but what was that 2 months ago? You know, it was getting dark at 5:15.
Oh yeah, and you know, we talked briefly about how, man, people's attitudes change so much now that it's starting to become spring. Man, if you've been on social media at all in the last week, we've had a couple of very, very pretty days. And man, the droves of people that come out in happiness and sunshine is wild. And it's just it's a metamorphosis that happens from wintertime of people being cocooned up for a couple months. Man, when that weather starts to change, people come out in droves, and it's great. I mean, it's good to see that change of people that they're that happy.
Right.
And I made the comment that I partially think, I mean, everybody likes warmer weather. It's a good time of year.
That
but
helps, especially when you live somewhere like this.
part of that mentality, I think, for people is that it's the only time of year that it feels like you have more hours in the day.
Right.
Because that's what people talk about all the time.
Well, you
Oh,
do.
But you know what I mean?
Quite literally.
Everybody says, oh, well, if I had a couple more hours in the day, I could do this, and this. And it's like, this is the time of year where that's actually a thing.
Yeah.
You know, right as you ramp up from that winter time of it getting dark at 5 and the time starts to get later and later, man, that whole period is like, you really do. It's like, it's so refreshing to be like, man, it's 5 o'clock and I'm walking out of work and it's still like full on sun up in the air daytime.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, I got
Super nice.
I got some time to get some stuff done. I can leave work and still get the grass cut. And that's a mentality changer for a lot of people, which is awesome. But that's also not to be forgotten about. Like, yeah, you're right. You need to be grinding.
And it fits in too with the nature side of things. The other day, my brother and I stepped out onto the back porch. Beautiful day, mid-morning. It looked extremely warm out. It was a day off. We step outside. It was gorgeous. You know, that initial change in weather from a cold spell into really nice
Like
spring-like weather.
70-degree day.
And for the first time in I don't know how long, there were birds everywhere. You could hear them, you could see them, and it was just almost a sign of spring's here. Everything was letting you know, like anything that was alive, anything that was moving around our property at that time, you know, even the dogs. I mentioned to you the other day, like I've got 5 dogs at my house, which is a mess in itself. But yeah, they're even acting differently. It's warming up. It's obvious in different realms of you know, what do I know? But it seems as if there's a common change.
Whereas as we start to notice the mentality of people changing, like you can definitely see it around you.
Yeah.
Not just with people. Right? It's freaking being. We're circling back to the actual
How
point
everything
of
is
this
just
whole
connected.
podcast, but it is.
Yeah.
The overall interlocking of consciousness, like, yeah, our mindsets do change during the summertime. Yeah, the mindset of the animals around you also changes during the summertime. Think about bears coming out of hibernation. Dogs are shedding winter coats where they've been hunkering down all winter just because they don't want to be cold all the time. So Sadie and Sam during the winter spend a lot of time in the barn. You don't see them out laying in front of the gate quite as much when you pull up. Sometimes they don't even come out when the cars pull up. They're
No,
like,
hell no. It's too
that ain't
cold.
anyone important. I'm not getting up. It's cold out there. But, you know, that all changes. And it's crazy that it's that closely related, you know, for us and for them. Granted, theirs is a little bit more necessary. I mean, animals are coming out to mate and to get offspring bred before it gets cold again and everybody needs to be hunkering down. But that's crazy. I'd like to see, I mean, I wonder if the birth rate goes up in the summertime or in the wintertime.
It'd be an interesting study.
Completely random and totally off topic for what we're going to talk about, but, you know,
Yeah,
if you
something
got
to
any
think
input
about.
on this, I mean, I'm wondering, like, is pregnancy higher during the winter when people are closed inside all day?
Right.
Or during the summer when we're a little bit more open-minded and free-spirited and ready to run around and do everything?
Well, wouldn't that, if people were hiding away in the cold, making babies, I mean, you're not going to have them born until
Well,
9
summertime is when you would have the baby, yeah.
Right.
But maybe pregnancy rate is what I should say.
Definitely an interesting study. I guarantee you if you were to do a Google search, it'd pop up just like that.
That's true.
But we don't, unfortunately, we don't have a little computer guru. I mean,
I know. If only we had a Jamie.
I know.
Damn it, Jamie.
Joe, let me borrow Jamie.
For this episode only. But, you know, getting back to priorities as far as the necessity of having them.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it is super easy for the run around everyday life to catch us off guard. And, you know, whether it be whether it be getting your grass cut or, you know, focusing on the goals that you're working towards right now and, you know, having other stuff to do, like, I get it. Like, there are things that are going to come up. But if that's something that you were truly seeing as a necessity of change in your life, find a way to make that happen during that day. We talked about it today. Like, yeah, you know,
yeah,
there were things that we would like to get done that we didn't, but everything we needed to get done that we saw as a necessity for today got done. Like recording, we never record after dark.
No.
Even during the wintertime when it was getting dark at 5, we were getting in and sitting down before dark and getting things recorded. And, you know, today we weren't able to do that, and we could have very easily just said, well, you know, we got a lot done today. You know, let's get to the gym and get home and, you know, get settled in and get ready for tomorrow. But we didn't. You know, we started today with the idea that we were going to get all this done and record today. And my God, I mean,
that's what we did.
It was just something we had to make happen.
And that's mindset. That is mindset and willpower.
It's not perfect, and it didn't go as planned, but, you know, it also got done.
Yeah, completely. And sometimes, you know, today's a perfect example. It didn't get done exactly the way we anticipated or wanted it to. You know, looking back, would I change anything? I don't really know that I would change anything. But at the same time, just because it didn't, didn't get done the way we wanted it to, I'm still extremely happy with the results. Why? Because we, like you're saying, we just got it done. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about when and how. It was just more or less, it will get done, period.
And you got to get in and attack it. And that's another thing to look at. If things are that important to you, do not just throw stuff up because you're busy and need to get it done. Like,
right, no.
You have to have the mindset of attacking it. It's like, okay, I don't have a lot of time, but I also need to do this well. So let's get in there, attack it, get it done, and get on to the next thing that I need to do. It does not leave a lot of room for dilly-dallying. But, you know, it's something we need to be more mindful of anyway.
Right.
I think we as people waste a lot of time with our dilly-dallying, whether that be, you know, watching TV in the evening for 2 hours, or maybe it's playing Xbox for you or something else. Like, those are things we all like to do. The way that we wind down.
Right.
But, you know, if it's one day that you need to cut that out because you got stuff you need to get done, yeah, that's your fat to trim. Take the time from that. If you, I didn't get to watch 2 hours of TV tonight, but, you know, I got to sit down and record.
Yeah.
Get some quality content out there for people to listen to. That's great.
You hear that? Quality.
Yeah. At least genuine. I don't know how good it is, but this is
Genuine's
real.
A better word. But see, that's one thing that I kind of like about that methodology is just perfect example podcast. Tonight, we didn't have time to sit around and second guess everything, what we were talking about, you know, where we were going with the conversation, this and that. We knew that we had to do something because we said we were going to do something. And it's not done yet by any means, but I feel like we're doing a great job for like how on the fly and it adds to the genuine side of things because we're doing what we set out to do. Yeah,
and you know, for those of you who don't know, we do typically put a lot of thought into like what we're going to record. Not so much as what we're going to say on the podcast, but a structure for us to think around while we're talking because it helps conversation flow better so that we aren't bouncing around all the time talking about random shit. But, you know, today at 8 o'clock, man, at 8:30, I couldn't have told you a thing in the world that we were about to talk about.
Right. No, well, we intended to use the gym kind of like we normally do to set up the talk. You know, it wasn't an hour or so today. It was 30 minutes of crammed gym time, but we set out to use that time not only to lift, but to also plan this talk. And I called you on the way over here, Cody. Damn it.
We forgot to talk about that at the gym, and that's part of your run around stuff though. I mean, we got in the gym, we're like, all right, let's stay focused and get this stuff done. And man, we didn't hardly speak while we were at the gym. It was literally like superset, home.
Which again was great for what we were. I mean, we busted ass for 30 minutes and got a good workout.
It was actually a great workout.
Yeah.
For how short as it was, like I felt like I expended the amount of energy from those muscles that I needed to have a sufficient workout in a very, very short amount of time. And, that's the cost, though.
It is.
That would have been an hour-long workout if we had started talking about the podcast. We would have been later, and then we may have been more likely to say, no, we wouldn't have done it today. And that's what comes. I mean, we had to plan on the way to the gym to plan. And somehow, in the time it takes us to walk inside and change clothes and get onto the gym floor, that whole plan was exploded.
Trashed. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, our plan for the gym was blown up. We worked up to our first set that we were going to superset on. Someone's on one of the machines, and it's like,
okay, question.
What do we do now?
That, kind of like what I was talking about earlier, it's scalable. Okay, so take that hour period. We talked about making a plan at the gym for the talk. Didn't work. Okay, same thing on a day scale. You plan to do something that day, you get a lot done, but you didn't get that one thing done. Scale it even bigger to the year. Like in 2019, I'm going to blank, and say something. You have a kid, or not to put that juju on anybody not wanting a kid. I see your face as soon as I say it, but it's scalable.
And I actually would take that, like, I guess you're about to go there, but it was like burning in my brain the whole time we were talking, is you got to scale it down.
Right.
Like, it's got to scale inward towards itself. We're like, we have a plan for the gym. Oh, no, that plan got blown up. Okay. Then formulate your plan around what we can do now that we're here. And that cuts down the outside stuff. We were planning to use the gym to get this done and talk about podcasting. Oh no, our plan to do both of those things got blown up. We need to reformulate what we can get done at the gym. So podcasting got cut. We focused on the gym, get in and get out. And then
on to the
as
next.
you get in the truck, it's like, oh, we forgot to talk about this. All right, we got 10 minutes to drive home.
But
Time to start planning.
We got to get out of here, man.
I know, man. I use that so much.
But that takes us to an interesting point also, that how easy would it have been for us after the gym, whenever I realized it on the way over here, Cody, we didn't plan a damn thing. You know what? I'm just going to go home. Go crash early. We'll call it a night. It would have been extremely easy for us to do that. And a lot of people probably would have. We're not ready. Let's not record something that we didn't plan so that we sound like we're idiots.
Fancy.
And so that we don't sound like we're idiots. I mean,
No, we sound like
don't know
idiots.
that there's anything going to stop that from happening. But
We do a good job of sounding like idiots.
But again, it comes all the way full circle to priority. And that shows that what we're doing, no matter what the results of it are, just doing. I'm hitting the shit out of my mic today. I'm sorry. But it brings us back to the fact that this is priority. And things in life that are important to you will show to you that they're important. And
I think that shows the want we have for this, because it's finding a way to make itself prevalent and a priority. It's like things that you're driven for and that you really want really do find their way to filter through a lot of the run around everyday stuff that you have going on. But that's not to say that it always will. Like us sitting down right now did not find its way through the stuff today. It did not. It had to be drug out of the muck that was the stuff that happened today.
Yes. And it did. It got drug out real quick.
Today tried to swallow our chance at recording multiple times, including, losing track of that stuff at the gym, which is super, super easy to do. This is a very different conversation, I think, than we've had in the past, just because it's a little bit more broad, but also one of the more important conversations we've had, just because
it's applicable to everything.
This stuff happens all the time, man. It doesn't matter what your goals are with anything. Yeah, the everyday muck of things just gets in the way. And, sometimes what you really driven for will find its way to make it happen. Other times, man, you really gotta reformulate everything to make it happen for yourself.
And don't be afraid to reformulate it. That is necessary. I think it's extremely necessary. By no means in any of this, don't misinterpret me from saying that what matters will show you that it matters, because a lot of the times it may not until it's too late.
That is a great way of doing that.
And that's on all of us, just like with anything else we talk about. Be conscious of it.
Yeah.
Give it 5 minutes of thought. What really matters? And scale it just like everything else. You know, today, when you wake up, what really matters to me today? What do I really need to get done today? At the beginning of the year, or at the beginning of the month, or hell, at the beginning of a workout, when you walk in the gym, what really matters today? What do I want to do? Do I want to get my heart rate up?
Yeah.
Or do I want to go
And,
meet a few people?
and if
Like,
you formulate tasks that you're doing that way, if you get a phone call halfway through your workout and someone says, hey, we're going to do this right now and we kind of need you to be here, whether that be family, friends, work, whatever. If you've gone about your workout, what I really need to get done today, chances are it's okay. Like, yeah, you might not have done all of what you wanted to get done at the gym, but
what needed to be done?
You've hit those things that you needed to get done because they were a priority, and now it's like, well, I wish I could have worked out longer, but I got what I came for. So you leave not feeling like you're neglecting or that you failed or anything like that. You can leave accomplished. And that's what it takes, honestly, to be successful in anything. Is your adaptability.
Right. And if you do that, the more you do that, the more you learn how to do that and how to get better at it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it almost becomes addicting, and then you just become the most successful person in the world, and you throw it all back at Genuine Being for
There you go.
us hitting the start button. I don't know.
Believe it, and I've preached for years that people's adaptability is one of their biggest value traits.
Right.
Completely. Because, that's part of it.
Right.
You have to be able to adapt.
Well, that is survival. I mean, that's to the basic bare roots of anything.
And part of training, say you're not an adaptable person. You like a structured schedule, and your run-around days of your life stress you out and make you a whirlwind of panic half of your day.
Right.
Guess what? Step one of making that better for yourself to help improve your adaptability is prioritizing. Mm-hmm. That is how you learn to adapt initially. And it's one of those things. You train your mind to be able to do it. You start doing it subconsciously more to where you're already a step ahead of the game.
Right.
But step one is to learn how to be a good prioritizer. And I can't tell you how to be a good prioritizer because I don't know what your goals are. But
that's completely within you.
Yeah, but all I'm telling you to do is figure out priority at the start of a goal, whether that be daily, weekly, yearly, whatever, hourly. It can go down that far if it has to. But be prepared to scope it in as things progress and things come up. No different than me moving out of this freaking house and getting it up on the market. How many things have come up that we've had to continuously be like, at first it was, man, at that 3-year mark, getting out of here, we're going to sell the house. Well, then it was like, well, I don't really know where I'm going to go yet. Okay, find somewhere to go. Cool. Found the trailer. It's like, well, I don't really know what I need to do to move out and get in the trailer. And then, it's had to progress its way back to now, get in touch with Duke Power, get power turned on, and then start moving back up. Then you can start to scale it back out.
Right.
And so much has come into the way of that, though, recently, as far as the runaround stuff. I mean, there are
unforeseeable things, too. So many people think they can be prepared for all these things that just jump up, but that's the whole point of them.
Yeah.
They come up without notice, without any kind of qualm. And
I mean, you can be the best planner in your entire life, and life will smack you right in the gourd.
Oh, yeah.
I thought I had a plan one time, like a life plan.
No, Jesus.
And I got dropped right on my freaking head.
Yeah.
Of course, I was 18 years old and thought I had just done what I'd been working 18 years to do.
Right.
And I was like, start over. And
And the larger that scale, the more the hurt. It's easy when a 30-minute workout doesn't go like you want it to.
Yeah, but
when your 18-year life plan just falls in front of your face.
The only thing you've been planning to do and have planned your entire future off of drops you on your head. It's like, what the fuck do I do now? And it was a big shock. It took me probably a year to figure out what the hell was going on after that, like literally.
And kudos to you, because there's always, in any situation, especially any situation like that, there's two things. So, step back, rewind. Anytime something happens like that, you have two options. You either face it head on, the whirlwind of shit that's messing up your plans. You can either face it head on with that attacking mentality that we just talked about, and headstrong, go on, adapt, and move forward. or you can just let it.
Beat you down.
Yeah.
And it can take you to some seriously dark places.
Right.
And I have by no means gone about this the perfect way. I'll let everybody know that I've made my share of mistakes over the last 4 years since that's happened, almost 5 years now.
Yeah.
I've made my share of mistakes in that, but at the same time, I mean, like, I've also kind of taken it for what it is. And that's what you have to do, because this whirlwind of things that happen have a way of compounding. Good things compound, which is great, and help us gain momentum. But bad things also compound in a way of turning from a pebble that you've stepped on and been like, to being a boulder in front of you actively trying to crush you going downhill.
Very, very good analogy.
Yeah.
I like it.
But that's how the bad things get.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally like I'm walking barefoot and step on a rock to, like, Kid Atlas holding up the world.
Right.
And, trying to survive it. And it will if you let it. So that's, all I can tell people from that is, stay headstrong, stay hungry, stay humble. Those are my two big things lately. I've been on, like, a phrase kick, I guess. But stay hungry, stay humble, and just, grind until it's time to be done grinding, because I can't tell you how long that's going to be. No one can tell you how long it's going to be. You just got to stay hungry, and it will level out. No one knows when, so it's just a matter of surviving it, really.
Yeah, completely.
And, you can enjoy it, or you can be miserable. So, I mean...
100%.
But either way, I mean, the grind's going to happen, whether you want it to or not.
So take your pick, jump on that train, and ride it.
Yeah, be happy that, you're healthy enough to do it. And maybe your grind is your health. Maybe you are, like, you're sick, or, maybe you've come down with a terminal illness that you don't know if you're going to beat. But that grind's happening whether or not you want it to or not, And you can lay down and die, or you can fight for it.
Mindset.
Figuratively and literally.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get you. Mindset and perception, two extremely powerful things that can be applied to any of those scenarios. Since you threw out one of your little quote things, I want to take a chance to see if my memory, I've been practicing this quote, and by practicing, I mean once I read it and liked it, I said it about 4 or 5 times and tried to revert it to memory. This is going to be the first time I'm going to reach back into that pool tank and pull it out.
Pool tank.
But Jordan Peterson, in his book that I'm reading, that I'm so close to being done with, thank you, Lord. But there was a quote that just struck me, and it kind of fits into the adaptability, and I hope I get this right. Don't quote me on it. I'm going to go back and listen to this to see how close I got to it. But it is that with love, encouragement, and proper character, a human being can withstand or adapt to
almost
anything. And that just hit me hard, because out of everything that he could have said that equation needed was love, encouragement, and proper character. I don't know that it was proper character, but it was something regarding high character. And those 3 things, there could be other words, synonyms maybe, that you could put in there that may sound better for you specifically, but those are 3 damn good words that,
That's powerful,
if
man.
I've got any of those 3, which I do, day in and day out, because of who I keep around me. And
it's a big part of this. We talk about your priorities. Part of being able to prioritize is having a good structure of people that hold you accountable. I know we talked about accountability a lot, but it's hard to meet our priority standards without a good circle of people that hold you accountable. Because if you don't, and you have a toxic group of people that aren't good at holding you accountable, they are part of the whirlwind of your day that will actively pull you away from what's important. That's something just to be conscious of. I'm not telling anybody they got toxic friends and you need to get better friends by any means. But
maybe you do.
Maybe you do.
I'll be the one to say that.
Be conscious of all of this stuff. Just be more conscious in general, man. Be more conscious of what you're putting in your mouth as far as what you're eating. Be more conscious of how active you're being. Be more conscious of how you're spending your time and how you're prioritizing your time. Because guess what? You could think you're being really good about utilizing your time, and you could be ruining the rest of your day.
Right.
So it's something you got to stay mindful of. We got 24 hours, man. Are you sleeping too much? That's another good one. That's something I have to go back to.
The list is endless.
All the time.
Endless. And that's something that the more we do this, we're on episode 15 now. Congratulations, by the way. We're 15 in.
15 in.
Good shit, my man.
Thank you all you guys for sticking with us
Yes,
through 15 episodes.
for anybody listening now or to anybody not listening that I wouldn't be talking to if you weren't listening, thank you for listening. This has been a blast. But it's something that I think I lost my train of thought. Give me a second to run it back with the long list of things.
Oh, yeah.
The long list of things that could, the more we do this, the more I think to this show, this podcast, that, well, what is your podcast about? Well, it's about a lot of shit, and it's about a whirlwind of stuff. We cover a lot, but I think that's what's cool about it to me so far, is that I'm amazed at how much I have put out, not only to people listening, but to myself, more things that I can be conscious of. You think you have all of everything covered, and you're like, oh, well, have you really paid attention to how well you're spending your time, or how much you're sleeping, or are you prioritizing the right stuff? Are you hanging around the right people? So much stuff that all of us, even if you know it, I was telling, I think you or Bobby or somebody close the other day, that even when you know these things, it's nice to hear them. Say it to yourself. Have somebody close to you say it to you, or push it on somebody else, because it's always a good reminder. And that's really, I think, something that's jumped out to me about this podcast, is that we're just trying to be aware and conscious of more and more, because there's always more to be.
And it makes us more conscious of more and more. Man, the more that I learn doing this podcast that, I feel is pertinent for other people to know. So if I come across something, I'm like, that'd be something great to talk about. I want to get that out there more. As I'm formulating the thought to put that out there to you guys, I am becoming more aware of what I'm doing about it myself. That's part of my process,
Right,
to figure out how I can verbalize it outward after I've heard it, is immediately to reflect it back onto myself and be like, how do I fit into this equation? How am I approaching this? And then I can take, my success and failure at that topic to tell you, how I would change it myself, or, how I feel like I'm successful at it towards you. How does that work, generally speaking, for the mass amount of people?
right.
And it's really cool, man. It's grown me a ton in the last 15 episodes of doing this podcast.
Completely.
It has trained my brain to be way more conscious of things. It's forced me to be way more conscious of things, because I'm asking you to be more conscious. Practice what you preach is a great term to keep you in check, but I think it's also a great thing to understand is, if you're preaching it, you are practicing it.
Right.
Whether it's subconscious or consciously, you're practicing.
No, yeah, that's an interesting take on it.
Yeah.
And that's why the conversation is so healthy. I remember at one point on the I think it was the Instagram, I had on there that don't ever underestimate a healthy conversation. And I had some people make some funny comments on it, and then I get to looking at it myself, and I'm like, oh, that's cheesy as shit, Brandon. What are you doing? But at the same time, you hear it, and you're like, there's so much weight to that. It's so true.
But we're people. We need to socialize. I can tell you that on days before I go to work, like the day that we sat outside and played with the dogs with Mom and Dad the other day, it was sunny and 75. Me doing that and being out in the sunshine and seeing other people and actually being able to communicate, I go into work feeling twice as good as I do if I wake up, eat breakfast here, and I get to talk to you guys, say on Xbox or whatever, until I go to work.
But
I still
quotations.
Feel twice as good having human interaction
Right.
for the day.
In quotations, artificial.
It kind of is. I mean, it's not the same as having someone standing in front of you
Right.
and having that human interaction. We have so much online contact where it's like, well, I'm not antisocial. I talk to people all the time. But how many real conversations are you having through your day? That social
Yeah.
contact is super
It's
important for your mentality. I feel super robotic when I'm on a night schedule, just because I miss a lot, and I'm having more late night conversations than I am like during the day when other people are busy. And getting that human interaction really tries to keep me out of the funk of a nighttime schedule.
Yeah.
It does. It keeps me far more normal. I see a lot of people at the mill that work those night schedules that get super
Robotic.
vampire-like almost. It's
Yeah.
weird.
A whole nother conversation in itself. It's a great point. And it makes me think about the other day, real quick. may have been yesterday. Very seldomly do me and my family all happen to sit down at one time together and
Run around,
do
get something away.
something. Yeah, like the other day we were eating dinner and there was the TV on in the background and something came up on a commercial about an MTV show that was basically redoing The Bachelor or something of that nonsense.
Oh,
God,
God.
let's not, because we could hammer away at that. But my mom just got a little, you know how you can tell that some things are really important to certain people by the way they talk about it. Well, my mom instantly, I happened to make a comment on it because I feel strongly about that type of show and all of that. But my mom starts going off on this thing. I know this is going to sound really old-fashioned, boys, but dating's just not what it used to be. And of course, she goes on to the whole thing about how when her and my father were dating, you know, they couldn't text. You waited for your date to pick you up, and you were lucky if they called your house phone and your parents allowed you to talk. You know,
You talked every couple of days, or you saw them out in town. It wasn't like, what are you doing?
right. And one, when you did get to communicate, it meant that much more. And second, there wasn't that, you know, if you talk to somebody all day on the phone, you don't feel as obligated to do it otherwise. But then is that artificial conversation still, you know, you get where I'm going with that?
I think people were much more, it's funny to word it this way, but I think people were much more connected in that form of communication.
That's
because
crazy.
we have so much communication with people now that our conversations are trash.
Well,
I
it's
mean,
like-
we do the same loop all day on repeat. Hey, what are you doing? I'm doing this, you know, blah, blah, blah. Whereas, you know, if I see someone even every other day, but I don't talk to them any other than when I run into them, you have great conversation.
quality.
It's meaningful.
Right.
And that builds a lasting connection with somebody. Whereas if I've texted you all day and then we sit down and hang out, it's like, well, I've known what you're doing all day. We've been talking all day.
I know what kind of mood you're in. I know
Yeah,
what's been
you know,
going on. It's like currency. It's like dollar bills, y'all. The more you print, the less value of each one printed
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
You know, it's.
And you
I
know,
don't want to run away on that conversation. It's a whole nother talk for a whole nother day.
I could do a whole podcast on that. I like
But
that idea.
very good point. You know.
About to get lost on it.
Yeah.
To wrap
Well,
up,
just
today,
to let me throw this out at you. I did a little magic surfing here, and on SmithsonianMagazine.com,
yeah.
title of this article is "Why More Babies Are Conceived in the Cold Winter Months."
Dang! It's
Called
because
it.
people are cooped up, man. We
Yeah.
ain't got shit to do other than eat and shoot loads into each other, as Joe Rogan would say.
Oh, very, very dramatized way of putting it. But
Yeah, it's hyperbolic as shit, but you know what I mean. Netflixing and chilling is way more common when it's cold outside. It's cuffing season for a reason, y'all.
Very good point. No, but I'm super happy. I've had a blast with this conversation.
Yeah.
You know, going in, it kind of takes me back. I don't know why this jumps into my head, but with Amber and the yoga, you know, we talked about, I had very low expectations for well, that's kind of like coming into this podcast. I didn't know what the hell we were about to talk about. I didn't know where we were going to go with it, but we were genuine. We shot out the message that we thought we were.
And I really
running
enjoyed that podcast.
Yeah.
Like, and I've also enjoyed this podcast. It's going to be a bear to timestamp. You know, I was
Oh,
thinking
God.
about that. But
All over the place.
I get that this is less structured for you guys. I hope you have gotten at least one moral point out of what we've talked about today, whether that be how you prioritize or your accountability with your friendships or, you know, your ability to adapt. All of these things connect. Maybe it was about being and about the seasons changing. That's awesome. But I hope that you have found something out of this conversation today that was meaningful and we weren't just rambling on for 45 minutes or however long it's been. I don't know.
Yeah. You're pretty close, 44 and some
There
change.
you go. So I hope we didn't ramble on too bad for you guys for 45 minutes. I hope there's something you can take out of it. And, you know, as always, I've had a freaking blast recording for you guys. I can't wait to go live on Instagram again because, you know, that was actually really fun. We got more feedback than I expected.
We're getting, believe it or not, people, we're getting a little more tech savvy
Yeah.
and seeing what we can and can't do with all this stuff. It's a blast.
Yeah.
One last thing that I'm going to ask personally from everyone listening right now, gbpodcasting@gmail.com. at GB Podcasting on Instagram. If you're listening on Podbean, there's a comment section. If you're listening on Apple, I guess find email something.
Email or Instagram.
I
right
don't
now.
know how completely, but please, if you listen to this and you get anything out of this, it goes back to the connection that we were talking about earlier and communicating. I know it's artificial. If I could have any and every one of you sitting down with us at some point in time, I would do it. Get on there and comment. If you hear something that you liked in this, or if you hear something you didn't like, or anything that strikes,
If this sparks an idea for you for something that you think you could talk for a full conversation on,
communicate it to us.
Yeah, that goes back, Kenny J reached out the other day after our Instagram live video.
Right.
And said that it's something she could talk a lot on and would like to talk about it on the show. Great. So we'll plan out doing that at some point. But, don't think that it has to be that you hear us talking about something that you think you can talk about. If something we say sparks an idea of something you want to talk about, let us freaking know. And, we will talk about any and everything. If it's something you're passionate about and you want to talk about it more, I will sit down and have a conversation with you about anything in the world.
Yeah.
And we'll have a great conversation. At the very least, you can, help me understand what the hell you're trying to say, or the point you want to get across. I'm not saying I'll agree with you, but I'm saying I'll listen to it and try to figure it out. Like, that's cool.
Absolutely.
That's a healthy conversation. I want to have more meaningful conversations. Let me know.
That's
so
the mission
I can
here.
do it.
That is the mission.
So, don't be so shy, guys. I get it. It's weird reaching out randomly and being like, you guys should talk about this. You're not bossing us around. I'm looking for it.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself. Again, thanks everybody for listening. I've had a kick-ass time recording another great podcast. So,
yeah, thank you for keeping it real with Genuine Being, guys. I will talk at you later.
adios, amigos.